Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to our latest and greatest interview. Today, we have the pleasure of meeting with Akash Puri, who is the Director International for India Sotheby's International Realty. Let's bring him on. I was about to say good morning, but I realized it's good evening for you.
It's almost bedtime.
9:30 your
It's
time?
9:30. Correct.
You're quite the trooper for doing this for us, so thank you.
No, not at all. It's such a pleasure. Thank you.
So typically when I do these interviews, it's to
hmm
learn more about the buying and selling process in your country.
hmm hmm
When you and I spoke on the phone, I told you I feel like this is going maybe a little different direction
hmm
because what we're running into, or what you explained to me, is a lot of your buyers are people from India who have moved to the US or
hmm
London or wherever who are
hmm
actually buying back at home. So can you talk through that a little bit?
Sure. Can I take a minute to introduce the company?
Absolutely.
Right. So we set up operations in 2014 with our first office in New Delhi, and slowly we've expanded over the years and got the license for the entire geography. So we're present in Mumbai, Delhi, and Calcutta. We'll soon be opening an office in Bangalore, which is in the south, and we'll be able to service the entire country agnostically. Also, we have a huge presence in Goa because a lot of our clients look, to buy homes facing the beach and the hills. We also have the franchise now for Sri Lanka and Colombo's. Also, we have an office there which we opened a few years ago, and we also have that's where we are at the moment. Once we opened the office, we realized that a lot of Indians were looking to buy overseas, and there was a lot of incoming traffic. And so I moved to London, and I spent, I think, almost 4 years there. I used to sit in the UK Sotheby's Realty office and manage the desk from there. But we were not only looking at Indians, we were looking to invest in London or otherwise. But we were catering to Europe, we were catering to the US. I used to travel a lot to New York. I work quite closely with Nikki
Mhm.
Field. So we have her India desk. I man that for her, and like that we set up desks in major destinations where our clients like to buy for incoming as well as outgoing referrals. So we have one in New York, we have one in Seattle, we have one in London, Dubai, Colombo, and so on and so forth.
So can you explain to me a little bit of how that works with you being in India? Do you have an agent that you work with? I know you said Nikki, but it's not Nikki at the Indian desk, right? So it's what it,
Correct. Correct. So yes, we have agents there designated who we basically work with, those of Indian origin,
Mhm.
because it helps to bridge the cultural gap. And a lot of things are not always said very obviously, and you just pick up on some things that a client is trying to say, and if you come from the same culture, makes it very easy to follow through.
Right. Well, and I think it's brilliant, as someone who loves the global aspect of our country, when you told me that you set up a desk in London for 4 years, I thought that was absolutely brilliant because you're right. There are certain things that we as Americans don't understand about other cultures. And it is great when you have someone who recognizes that in one another. So let's talk then again to the point of who's buying in India, who your buyers are. So can you
Right.
help me through that?
Yes. Yeah, so there are about 30 million approximately NRIs at the moment across the world. NRI is a non-resident Indian,
Okay.
right? And in India, only Indians can buy real estate. So whether you're a non-resident Indian or you have a person of Indian origin card, that goes to show that your family was from India. OCI, overseas citizenship card. So you have either one of those, or you have an Indian passport and you're staying somewhere as permanent residency, so you'll be able to buy in India. So that's our clientele for people who are looking in India. Whereas in Sri Lanka, anyone can buy. It's not restricted only to Sri Lankans.
So if I'm an American and I want to buy in India, what do I do?
Mhm.
Find someone to,
You actually can't buy in your individual capacity unless you're working in India and you're able to, and you have to take the government permission, and you can retain the property for as long as you're working there. Your visa is valid.
That's interesting.
So the Indian real estate market is not open to. Of course, they have partnerships, they have FDIs, a lot of money flows in to work with developers. So if you're at that level, it's a separate thing when you come in as a company to invest in a project or a new development, but you're not really buying it. You're doing a joint venture or you're investing in a project.
Okay. That's interesting. So that you're actually the first country that I've heard that, and I didn't even know that that existed. So that's amazing. So then Sri Lanka, um, like you said, it's more fluid. So
Uh,
are who is buying in Sri Lanka? Are there is it Indian citizens? Is it
yes, Indians can buy. A lot of Chinese are buying. Russians buy there. They like the weather.
mhm.
China is spending a lot of money inside Sri Lanka at the moment.
So what is the weather in Sri Lanka? Is it
It's tropical. It's
mhm.
warm most of the year.
Okay.
It's surrounded by sea. It's an island, so it's really beautiful. It's very windy, and people are very nice. People are very nice, and they're great views. In fact, we represent one of the largest new developments there. It's one of our keystone projects, also Sapphire Residences, that an Indian conglomerate is actually making in Sri Lanka, and we're representing that exclusively and selling to the world.
Well, congratulations.
So it's got views. Thank you. It's got views of the sea on one side and the views of the bay on the other side. It's a humongous project. It's the most prime residential, uh, mm, uh, most prime residential real estate in Sri Lanka because it's on Face Road, and they basically the national flag of Sri Lanka is hoisted a few meters ahead of that building. So it's a very prime spot.
So what is the price point for something in Sri Lanka in that development? Is that what is
Sorry.
what is the range of prices in the development?
It's it varies.
Okay.
And I mean, we can be looking at something $1.5 million onwards, upwards, because it depends on your floor and size and everything else.
Okay. But still relatively inexpensive to invest,
Well, it depends on what market you're looking at,
right? Well, you know,
right? And the demographics. So $1.5 million in for example in London would probably just get you about a 2 bedroom in Notting Hill. 2 bedroom, 2 baths is what they call it. If it's less than that, it's about 1.2. You're looking at 2 bedroom and 1 bath,
right.
or a bath and a half. So it really depends on who your clientele is and what it is for them.
Well, so then I wanted to talk to you again about the non-resident Indians.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I don't want to spoil everything. So I'll say
Sure.
you explain to the people watching the way that you explained to me about how they're in these other countries and they come back. Maybe go through some of that.
Sure. So, in fact, yesterday we did a very interesting call with the Indian uh, agents who
Mhm.
are basically in the US.
Mhm.
So, Indian citizen agents who are in the US. And we had a fantastic call with them yesterday in which we discussed ways to collaborate. They may know Indians who are living in the area who want to come back, upgrade. At this point, the currency as is highest in terms of conversion rate,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So USD and INR is one of the highest it's ever been, and so and also, I mean, property market is slightly soft throughout the world, right? So they are so it's a great time to basically invest in the country, and we're building that network. And I'm sure, like, you have a lot of Indians in your area. The other agents on this call may also have similar. So it's a great time to to connect and offer opportunities. Some people. I see one of my friends is on call. Tanya just says a hi,
Yeah,
so shout back
that's
back at
all.
her. Yeah, and so some of us, so we connect in the same way. Like Tanya sends me clients who are looking at India, who want to invest, and if somebody is looking in her market, I refer to her,
Of course.
and vice versa.
And so when the non-residents are purchasing in India, are they holding them as perhaps rental investment? Are they second homes? Like what is the usage?
It's a very good question. So some of them are basically building a nest egg. So when they go, because you take advantage of the currency, they probably make being able to make more money if they've upgraded in life, aspirational sense, and they come in. They'll either buy a place where they like to retire, for example.
Right.
They may want to get a holiday home. So like right now, there are a lot of queries coming for holiday homes, like for example on Goa and the hills, because people feel that if we were to be stuck in an apartment, I might as be overlooking a beach,
Right. Right.
and have something there. In the same way, there are a lot of people whose parents or family are still in India,
Yes.
right? And they see this as a good opportunity to upgrade the home for their family, so make it a larger space,
Yes.
or get or have more privacy, so get a detached, so move in from an apartment probably to a full home, or get a larger space. If you were in a 2 bedroom apartment, you want to maybe shift to a 4 bedroom apartment. And
Mhm.
this is a good time to buy, because of the global situation, and also because the currency conversion is in favor. So that is a reason. So investment for sure, having a nest egg, upgrading for family members, second home or a holiday home, you know. And Indians like to stay connected to their roots.
Right.
So that sense of belonging is there. Like, till the time they don't have a home in India, it's not complete.
Because
Plus
when
also you
you want to, right?
Plus also, if you look at it, makes a very smart portfolio diversification too, to not have all your assets in one country,
Right.
in your real estate. And we really advise our clients in the same way. We don't consider ourselves, just as an agent, but we consider ourselves as, real estate portfolio bankers. So when we speak to our client, we talk about their assets. Now,
Yeah.
I personally look at the international market. That's my area of expertise, and I insist my clients, to look at overseas markets and compare for them, and then I get inward referrals for the office. So we address it the same way. Currency diversification, real estate portfolio diversification. You may be slightly heavy in London for something. You think you can get a good price. You want to cash that out. Invest somewhere else.
Right.
From that perspective.
So the Indians in the country who you're helping to invest in other countries, what countries are you looking into, or what markets are you looking into? You mentioned London several times.
Yes. So US and London are the top two markets
Interesting.
for our clients. So New York is a hot favorite. Seattle is a lot of Indians who go there. There also, London, of course, has always been a top destination because of the British Raj. There's culture. They feel comfortable. There's a with the culture, and then they look at Dubai.
Hmm.
Dubai is a destination a lot of Indians, because it's very close to home. It's, depending on what part of India you are, it's between 3 to 4.5 hour flight.
Oh, well, that's not bad.
So if I were to fly down from the north to the south, the flight would be about 3.5 hours. So
Oh,
from Delhi, I can reach Dubai in 3.5 hours.
yeah,
So
which is
just to give you an idea of so it's proximity to home. Plus, when you do I think over $1 million dirham investment, you get a residency visa,
mhm,
so you can stay there. Dubai is a tax-free country.
right.
There are a lot of Indians in Dubai. They've built the city, as they say, in terms of the investment and the work that happens there. Then a lot of them are looking at citizenship by investment type of programs. So we've tied up, with Portugal, Sotheby's. We work very closely with them,
Yes.
because Lisbon is a hot favorite again for Indians to look at destinations.
And it qualifies for the golden visa as
It
well.
qualifies a golden visa, and then after a few years, you get your passport if you
So,
want to maintain it. Otherwise, you can keep a permanent residency and have a foot.
so can we go back to Seattle, because that's an interesting one for me to hear? Is it because of the technology that's in?
Correct. So there are a lot of Indians who are working
Okay.
there, and I mean, I do want to mention that, like, since we're discussing this, that a lot of Indians are basically, heading the top firms in the US. So I mean, you have somebody in the parliament. You have Nikki Haley, you have Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, Vinod Khosla, Ajay Banga. So within finance, and Sabir Bhatia, and technology, there are a lot of Indians who are basically very well settled there, right? And um, and uh, uh, and there's a lot of cross referral when it comes to, coming back home. And I'm just naming a few, and I'm sure you know more. Like when we discussed, I shared with you that there was a road named after one of our clients
Which is,
in your, yeah,
yeah.
in your part of town, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so in Austin, we do have a lot of technology, and all of
Right.
thus far, every Indian client that I've had actually is in the technology field, and so that's why I was wondering about the Seattle. So then, let me ask you, as an agent in the U.S., what are the best practices for me if I do have a client who wants to purchase in India? Is there
Can I type my phone number?
so basically call you is what you're saying? Well,
Well, that's all you need to do.
because there is a cultural barrier sometimes. Like I have, I'm going to try to approach this nicely. A friend of mine is from New Delhi.
Right.
Had wanted to go to your opening uh,
Mm-hmm.
that you had, and it was after G&E, I think, after the
Mm-hmm.
Vegas one. And
Mm-hmm.
he told me not to waste my time going because
Mm-hmm.
an Indian will never work with a white woman. That's
No, it
just
doesn't
what
so.
will happen.
It isn't so.
So I
I
think,
think we're very accepting because if that was not the case, we wouldn't be a population of 30 million NRIs across the world, sprinkled or across the world. And if we thought like that, then you would not have so much of us in the US who are heading the top organizations from Microsoft to being in in the Senate. So it's not that's not the case at all.
right. Well,
I think India as a culture is a very accepting culture. They're very warm people.
yes.
A lot of the foreign associates have basically come for our global realty conclaves, and they are absolutely overwhelmed, with the warmth. Philip White has come over
Hmm.
to India. Julie had come over. Michael had come over. So in different steps, I mean different years, depending on who's able to come. They come, and we do this great global luxury realty conclave.
Yes.
And in that conclave, we basically invite a lot of overseas affiliates who come and represent their markets. We hold talks with industry and thought leaders who speak well about luxury as well as about real estate. It's a nice mix of HNIs, of could be a very nice interior designer, could be a fashion designer, could be the royalty.
Interesting.
They have great palaces, so they want to talk about that. That's also real estate.
Hmm.
So it's a great mix of industry experts. We've had ambassadors. We've had the Indian ambassador to Canada in our last conclave. We'd come over. We've had the Indian ambassador to the US, coming for our conclaves and seminars. So there's a lot of interaction. Like we also have a desk in Toronto manned by one of our colleagues, who's an Indian who's actually gone moved there because of the kind of referrals he's getting.
Right.
And I see going forward, there's going to be a lot of work with the US,
Hmm.
because I really feel it's a double advantage, softer prices and the currency conversion. So this is the time actually, if you want to upgrade, you want to get your dream home, you want to do something. So I see a lot of inward referrals coming our way.
Yeah, and it's something that after speaking with you, I've been more mindful about because I don't think about it on a daily basis. And this is very American of me. I admit this, but I assume, if someone comes here to live, they're probably not concerned with what's going on back home.
Correct,
But in
correct,
the Indian culture, it's completely different. They're still very
correct,
tied to home. So,
correct. That's one thing. And even if they don't want to buy and they want to wrap up, then we're here to help you list.
okay.
So it works both ways. It's just not necessarily inward, but if there could be a lot of listings that could come up through the Indian clientele that you have, like just after yesterday's call, one of the Indian associates who was part of that group yesterday actually sent me a referral for Goa,
Oh,
and somebody owns a piece of land there. It's a huge piece of it's a huge parcel of land, and she wants me to get in touch with them, and I have a call with them tomorrow at 11 a.m. to discuss, and it's valued quite well. So you never know what comes out of from where.
right. And so then on the receiving side, because obviously, like you said, so many people are coming in, are there things that we as agents should be mindful of? If you call me and say, I have someone moving to Austin, is there something that I should be doing differently or above and beyond? Like what are my best practices as a receiving agent? How can I treat your client
Uh,
best?
sure. So Indians have a mindset of, because a lot of them are self-made, and we have a huge population of 1.4 billion, and going overseas, and if you're going overseas to migrate, and lots of them are not just for business purposes, but they're going on a work visa because what they work themselves up, and they're getting the visa, and they're going to a destination they would like to live. US is everybody's dream,
Mm,
and so they're looking for value,
okay.
right? So that's the first is the best way to be able to befriend an Indian, if you're able to show value in what you provide, what you're basically showing them in the home, if and that is what we would do as realtors, or the choices that we're giving them is very important. To do a bit of research. They're not going to buy the first home you show them,
Right.
no matter how nice it is.
Right.
And so they will do the research, and and they take the time to make a decision.
Mhm.
It's not something it's not many of them have impulsive buys to do. They
And I
basically take their time to understand.
and I've learned that spreadsheets are my friend with my Indian
Mm,
clients, where
mm,
I detail everything out, and this is the value
correct.
of it. So
Correct. This is the value. This is all the cost. That's the capital appreciation. That's the rental yield that we expected. They want to know everything, to the last, as much as possible. That what will be the total outlay when they make an investment.
well, and I
They
think
like joy.
I'm sorry, please.
Sorry, that's it.
Okay.
Fine.
Well, so I think one of the other things that we run across in the US is that our way of purchasing a home is so different than the way things are done in India. So maybe you could touch on that. Can you give us a brief overview of the buying process in India? What a typical Indian client would go through?
hmm So, what do you mean in terms of how is it different? As in,
So in the US, in Texas specifically, you find a home, you write the contract, we have an option period. And during that option period, you can cancel the contract for any reason and receive your funds back, your earnest money funds back. After that date, it's more difficult to cancel, and there's almost no negotiations after that point. Um,
right?
and so, how is that different than
Well, we've got the best practices from overseas in our country too. So
perfect?
we like to follow something similar, like to have a standard like we have in Sotheby's Realty amongst our offices, and we would follow it through the same way. It's just that, like, for example, you asked me if the escrow accounts. That's not something that's usually followed. It's a bank draft that's given,
Okay.
or a banker's check is what you call, in terms of to basically block the property. Then agreement of sale is made, in which certain percentages agreed upon that is given to the buyer, to the seller, and then once the due diligence everything is over, the final contract, we pay the balance, and we conclude the deal.
So is the deposit that's giving negotiated between the buyer and seller, or is it a fixed amount or a typical amount?
It's negotiated, but
Okay.
we try to make sure that we protect the deal. So we make sure that there is a decent amount between 20 to 30% is what we take at agreement to sell, so that uh, everybody's skin is in the game,
Yes, of course.
and the deal goes through. So it's important.
And the process from beginning to end, what is the time frame for that typically?
Well, it really depends on how quick the solicitors actually do the documentation, and they're able to, do the title search and all of that.
Okay.
But it could be, and what is decided between the buyer and seller. But I would assume usually about 2 months, 60 days maximum. Uh, it usually can be done in a month, 45 days too. But we normally keep a buffer, and we try to work around 60. But it can definitely be done faster
So do
if the
your
cash is available. It's quicker.
and that was my next question. Are most of your buyers cash buyers? Do you have a large amount of mortgages? What is the
Well, it varies. It varies, and depending on person's individual, because we have all sorts of buyers. But mostly they're cash.
okay.
Mostly they're cash. Some take mortgage. Mortgage rates are very high in India. They're about over 8%.
Oh wow.
Right? They're probably one of the highest rates in the world.
Is that a what is the term? Is it a 15, a 20, 30 years?
Yeah, can be 15, 20 years. Yeah, can
So
be.
it varies.
It varies. It varies with the person's age, income capacity, size of the loan. So a lot of other factors, are
Right. Well,
considered.
and I think that's been the biggest takeaway for me doing all of these interviews around the world is, we're one of the only countries, the US, that has such long mortgages, and
hmm
a country where the majority of people do have a mortgage, whereas elsewhere around
hmm
the world, people pay cash. So,
hmm hmm
okay, so tell me when your offices are open, your new offices will be open in Sri Lanka.
So sorry, I missed that.
I'm sorry,
What did
Sri
you say?
Lanka is opening when? Or
I
is it,
can't.
is it lagging
I
again?
can't. Yes, I can't follow.
Let's pray. When are your new offices opening?
The next one would be in the south, as I said, because we've got north, we've got west, we've got east.
Right.
The south will open. Well, before this entire lockdown situation, we were hoping to open it sooner. Now we'll have to see. Maybe at the end of the year. It depends on how we play. Take it forward. But in India, we follow best practices. Like we have a few keystone developments. We've got one in Delhi, one in Mumbai, one in Calcutta. From that perspective, we make sure that our clients, and this is good for the NRIs. We work with good developers. So people they're going to ask you these questions, because They want to know that the money is going in secure to the agents in India. You know, are able to have the same standard as you have in the US, and we like to imitate that, and better it where we can, because we use our cultural knowledge to be able to bridge any gap that there is.
Yeah.
So all of that is what we do.
Okay.
And being bankers, most of us on our team are either bankers or luxury experts. We don't have really typical brokers that you get in India. And
Mhm.
it's been a conscious decision, so that there is a lot of quality in the people who basically work in the team. And so we've got stalwarts, and recently we had somebody join us, about 20-25 years of experience in new development, you know um, he's just joined us, and he will just look after the new development department. So where you'll have your keystones, and you'll have where and when we take a new development, we take those projects that have ready stock,
Mhm.
as opposed to a promise of 2 to 3 years. So or soon enough, they will be completed within 6 months to a year. You can see the structure, you can see work going on to mitigate any risk. You know we we uh we're we're conscious of the fact that for a lot of our clients, money has been made,
Right.
with a lot of hard work, and we want to make sure we give them the best advice, as a banker would. Always think like a banker, because we've all been bankers. I used to be a banker. I was a banker in Dubai, I was a banker in Singapore, I've spent time in New York, I lived in London for 4 years, and that's why I do international, because of having lived in each of these places. I understand the different cultures. uh, so basically, with this, I've got wheels under my feet.
Yeah.
So this lockdown has actually kept me at home for the last 2 months. Otherwise, I would have been
It's so,
somewhere else at this moment.
I told everybody that I think my main reason for starting these interviews is so I could travel, through these interviews because
Well, that's a great thought. That's a great thought.
yeah, it's great. So talk to me then. So we've talked our business. Talk to me about your India. So where is your favorite place in India to go? Or if I come to India, where should I visit?
Oh, that's a tough one. It depends really on what you're looking for in India. People come to India for spiritual release.
Yes.
People come to India for Some of people come to India to experience the culture of having huge amounts of crowd around you, and take the local trains and enjoy that.
Mhm.
Some people come to go to the palaces. Some people go, like to go south. The lovely beaches there, the backwaters in Kerala, which is supposed to be God's own country. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
And um, and some people like to go to the hills.
Yes.
Somebody's a city slick. So you have Mumbai, you have Delhi, you've got all the nightclubs and all of that. So it really depends on. There's great shopping. There's a lot of ethnic stuff. You can pick up paintings which are made by tribal artists, and indigenous artists and things like that. So there's a lot that one can do in
And
India. So depending on what you like, I can help you with your itinerary.
my sister actually went to India a few years ago.
Hmm.
Very into
Where did she go?
meditation. I think she went to Delhi, if memory
Hmm.
serves me. She went all over by
Hmm.
herself because she's very free spirited that way. But she said India was one of her favorite countries in the world. She just
Hmm.
absolutely loved it. Now, northern India and southern Italy, Italy. I've got Italy on the brain.
It's
India,
a beautiful country. I love going to Italy. Lodovico is a great, good friend of ours,
the left,
and I've been to almost all of his offices.
yeah,
In fact, the last I was at the Sardinia office launch. It's very, very nice.
yeah. I actually had somebody from Lake Como say, I
Yes, I was in Como this summer.
I welcome you anytime you want to come. And I said, I will take
Yes,
you up on that offer. Um,
yes,
but
I
northern,
was in Como.
yeah, northern and southern India culturally are different too, correct?
Correct,
So,
correct.
so if you really want to get a good sense of the country and the people, you would want to go north and south.
Yes, yes, you would want to do that, and maybe a bit west, when Rajasthan is, where the desert is, and all the beautiful palaces are there, which have basically breathtaking shows at night with all the lights, and the palace lights up. And they have very nice music, that they artists there, that the musicians and artists that perform extremely well at night in the palaces. So it's like there's one palace which is in the middle of a lake.
Oh, really?
So you're just stranded, and you can only reach the palace on a boat and come back. So it's like a little Maldives.
That's amazing, though. I love
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
when you come to the U.S., do you do you laugh at our Indian food?
Not really, not really.
Is it good?
But I don't come to the US to eat Indian food.
I guess that's true, right? So when you're in New York, there's no Indian food. None? None at all?
No, not really. I like to try out what is local. And I've always been like that. I'm from a boarding school. I'm one of the top. It is the premier boarding school of the country. I'm a third generation from there. I'm
Mhm.
also in the executive committee of the school. So all the, the industrialists of the country, the prime ministers, all the top-notch professionals have gone through that boarding school.
Okay.
And so it's always been invited me, to understand other people, to work with them, to and to I mean, I find it very curious to understand different cultures.
Me too.
So I always do. In fact, when I was in London, and so at the first Genie was a Genie in Vegas. We did it one way Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Were you there in the Vegas Genie?
Yes.
So do you remember Philip White putting a photograph of me saying the best dressed man in London?
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So being in the London office,
It's different.
an Indian was rated the best dressed man,
It's different.
right, in a suit. So it just goes to show how you can adapt into the culture.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
basically the point that I was saying. I was trying to get
So,
at.
so when you come to the US, is there something that you look forward to treating yourself to?
Well, I to tell you very honestly, I've been on the East Coast from New York all the way to Washington.
Mm,
I haven't really been on the other side. I would like to visit it if I'm able to spend more time, because usually the trips are about a week, 10 days, and there's just so much to take in.
yeah,
In that, meet clients and the associates there, because there's just so much to do.
yeah,
But yes, I would like to go to Grand Canyon at some point of time,
of course.
or closer, and see something else, besides, so you have such lovely natural beauty in the US, which I haven't had the time to explore. All I spend time is either at the auction house or a corporate office,
Yeah.
or in the Upper East Side office, and that's basically been my route when I'm in the US.
Well, and you have a client here in Austin, so you have a good reason to come to Austin.
Yes, I do.
You'll have to
I
come
do. I
visit
do.
some.
And well, I know you as a friend now, so that's more of a reason than just a client.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go and have a good time, and I'll find you a very Texan meal when you come too. So
Sure.
that
Sure.
the
Look
world.
forward to that.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me
Thank you.
today.
Thank you.
When we spoke ahead of time, I was really um, floored. Honestly, I was amazed by what you were telling me, and you have opened up my eyes to a different way of doing business. So I thank you for that.
No, thank you. Thank you. And I hope we'll take this forward with cross referrals.
Absolutely,
Uh, and I look forward to having a long-term association with you, like we have with most of our clients.
likewise.
And we just expand as it is, as just as family, as what any Indian would do. They're very nice and they're very accepting. So I don't know what your friend told you. You should come to and visit us.
It's funny because my son, one of his best friends, is Vibu. Can never,
Vibhu.
Vibu is his, yeah, and he lives a couple of doors down. And I was like, this is not what my friend told me is completely different than what I see from Sushma, his mother, who I adore,
Right.
and Vibu. So I do love the Indian culture, and I do feel like you are very welcoming and warming.
Yes. Yes.
And
And so is it being in the US.
yes.
I've had some of the best times I've had in the US. I love my visit to New York. My uncle actually has a penthouse on Park Avenue. He passed away the beginning of this year. You may have heard of him, Sunny Mehta. He used to head Alfred Knopf's.
Oh,
That's he was here probably for 30 years. He used to decide who gets the Pulitzer and
yeah,
so on and so forth. And he was on the committee for Nobel Prize for Literature and things like that. So he's a very celebrated author and a publisher.
well, I'm sorry.
So I used to have a great thank you. I used to have a great time spending with him, and of course Nikki and her team used to be so nice to me, always taking me out, and of course the other associates in the US who I meet.
Well, in Texas, we're a little different than New York, so be warned.
Okay.
We'll try not to hug you too much. We're big huggers. And so,
So are Indians.
yeah, I know. I love that. So, well, again,
So
thank
are
you
Indians.
for everything. I'm here for you whenever I can help you. I'm here, and I know that I can call you. And Daraj, I love him. He is a
Hmm.
wonderful, wonderful asset to your
He
company.
is.
I
He is. He is. He looks after he's from the Mumbai office.
He
He's
is.
very, very nice. He's got great friends. He's a laugh a minute.
He is.
He's really very good. He's very nice. We also have another person called Sheena, who's part of the Mumbai team,
Mhm.
who looks after Goa. And right now she's in Goa, and she's an expert of on that property.
Well,
So
hopefully
there.
all of you will be able to come to G&E in April of next
Yes,
year. It's
yes, I plan to.
We'll have to plan
I
another
plan.
global dinner and get together.
Absolutely.
All
Look
right.
forward to that. Look
Well,
forward to
thank
that.
you, Akash, and have a
Thank you.
wonderful day. Stay healthy, stay well.
You too. Stay well. In this together is what they say.
Absolutely. And enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. You
All
too.
right.
Thanks. Bye.